So, ma'am, we just want this to be like a freewheeling conversation. And the first question that we had for you is, how is Waldorf different from other regular or conventional preschools?
So in Waldorf education, particularly in the kindergarten, we try to give them the ideal environment which a child should be getting even at home. So we call Waldorf kindergartens as an extension of home. So we try to give them that because we also believe that the children learn out of imitation. They should get role models whom they can imitate, whom they are always looking up at. Also, at the same time, we feel Waldorf education is not insisting on reading or writing. They are just looking for building the character of the child, how the child should blossom. What are the things he needs for a healthy childhood, I should say. Even things like having a beautiful environment, a very peaceful environment in the school, the lovely colors that we try to provide them, the sense of touch that we want to nourish through wooden blocks and the cotton material that we give them. A lot of space where they can bring in their imagination, where they play out of no interference. You know, they just create things. That also helps them to think in future how you can actually see the child. How is he going to blossom in future if given the time and space? So we feel Waldorf education is really important for it, at least, but I would talk about kindergarten more than anything, that it is a space where the child blossoms in the very healthy and natural environment. So that is one of the highlights for me. Also, we talk about the lower senses, the sense of touch, movement, balance, life. So these are the four senses, as per Steiner, should nourish only between birth to 7. And in the kindergarten years, they are the most crucial years for them. So by giving them this kind of environment, by giving them teachers who are more like role models, who do things in the absolutely perfect manner, so that the child, if he's imitating the perfect gestures. Also the happy inside, you know, so the teachers are always asked to be happy beings. They leave all their worries back home and they work with the children as if they are really happy beings, and the child imitates that happiness. So it's so important for the child to grow up like a happy being. So we feel that's the ideal environment that we try to create for the 3 to 4 hours when they are in the kindergarten.
And ma'am, you said like you kind of alluded to the fact that the ages 0 to 7 are really crucial. So can you elaborate on that? Why are these crucial in the development of a child?
Yeah, so from birth to 7, actually the children are growing physically. We say the birth to 7 is the age of the physical. So because a child, from being horizontal to being vertical in the first year, he learns to walk, he learns to talk, he learns to actually adapt the whole environment. So the most important thing is not reading and writing for him at that age, but what is more important for them is to look at the environment, to learn from the environment, to learn from the surroundings. And sense of touch gives him that, you know, the healthy environment that we give them, the natural environment, the the nature, the sandpit, the wooden blocks, the cotton material, that helps him to physically develop his sense of touch. And sense of touch is so important to give him boundaries in life, which we all can only judge once they are 21, 22. You know, if a child has been brought up without boundaries, you know, he can go into drugs, you know, he can go into a situation where there is no control, where you can also see in the adolescents where they do not respect boundaries. So give them the boundaries which we will need to have in adolescence or later in life. That boundaries have to be developed with the help of sense of touch, which we can only give them with the right kind of physical surroundings, which Waldorf kindergartens are made for. The other thing is sense of life you develop. The sense of life is also called sense of living life, you know. So we give them a lot of healthy environment, you know, to develop sense of life. See, all these four senses are very intermingled. By giving one or the other, you're actually nourishing all the four of them together. So we insist on healthy food, we insist on the adults which are always pleasant, which is also very, very important to build the immune system of the child. Whatever the child may do, it is so important for the teacher to have a beautiful smile on her face, to always understand that the child is behaving in a particular manner because there is something going on within the child, and not giving any kind of consequence or punishment. So that is important for the child's health. Thirdly, we give a lot of movement, like we give them indoor play, we give them outdoor play, we give them a circle time, which is with beautiful gestures. So all this movement helps the organs to develop in a very healthy manner. Like if you have to, when a machine is made, unless you oil the machine, it is not going to run smoothly. So by giving them a constant movement and not making them sit behind the table and chair, is going to only nourish the movement of the child, the organs, the limbs of the child. And fourthly, the balance. The balance is how balanced a child is going to be as he grows. So by giving him a lot of physical balancing activities, by making him walk on different, like on a table or a chair, we give them a lot of practical movement. By giving that practical movement, we are actually building the ability to be a balanced human being as they grow up. So these things, what we are working as birth to 7 is finally the foundation of the building, which we expect to be a healthy human being. Because once the education starts, once reading and writing starts, we will not be able to probably focus on all these things. So Steiner speaks about giving a lot of healthy environment, making the building strong, giving it a very strong foundation by giving this kind of environment to the children, so that when they grow up, they are really healthy human beings.
And ma'am, what are the detrimental effects of having a more regimented approach, even in pre-KG or KG, like which you normally see in higher secondary? Schools have been trying to emulate that, to take it all the way to pre-K. What could be the detrimental effects of that on the young mind?
Taking all the way to, sorry, repeat your question.
They're taking it all the way, like the schools have been, they definitely have to, prepare for the board exams, and it has been much more structured. But now, first it was lower secondary, then primary, now it's gone to pre-K, that regimentation. So like, what could be the detrimental effects for such young minds?
Yeah. And also like ma'am, like introducing reading, writing at the age of 3. People want their children to able to write. Yeah, so on.
Right. So for me, the most important thing is the love for education. So most important is at 3, when his fine motor skills, his gross motor skills are not even yet built, or he has not even been introduced to the fine motor skills. His fingers are very fragile. His brain is still developing. So at that point of time, when I'm going to make this child sit behind a table and ask him to just sit and write, it's not possible. It's physically not possible for him. So he starts getting frustrated out of education. There is a kind of fear that develops in the mind of child regarding education. So what we want to do is we want them to have love for education, and giving the right things at the right age. The child actually loves it. So in the Waldorf kindergartens, by the time it's 5.5, and if they have not been introduced to letters and numbers, they actually look forward. They are actually hungry for learning. They come and tell us, that when will you study? And he says, yes, we are going to study in grade 1 probably. And they're so looking forward that when they go to grade 1, they really perform so beautifully. Now, what has happened is we have actually, so I keep giving very simple examples that when the child is hungry, आप उनको करेला भी खिला सकते हो. You can give him the best thing that you think is most healthy for the child. So when he's looking forward to read, when he's looking forward to study, you can create this education so beautifully, bring it them to so beautifully that they just look forward to it. And the love for education is so important that finally when they reach boards, they're actually looking forward to learning. They're so enthusiastic about learning it in different ways. By giving them things at the age of 3 or 4, I feel we are just creating that fear of education because they are physically not ready for it. And at that time, we are pushing them to do things which I am not ready for. So I start building that image of myself, मैं नहीं कर सकती हूँ. So I lack in this. मुझे पढ़ना नहीं आता है. So we don't want these negative things to come to the child that I cannot do it. I have a fear. And that will take it to a point where he will start hating education. He will say, no, I can't study. That thing should never enter a child's mind that I'm not capable of reading.
Yeah.
We want them to have the love for it. That yes, I can do it. It's very simple. There's a beautiful flow in learning. So if you give things at the right time, the love for education is amazing. And I have seen that in my own children. Being in the system for the last 20 years, in every grade, in 2 schools that I have worked for, I've always seen that the children never have hesitated to do their homework or even fall back and say it's very boring, unless the teacher is not bringing it beautifully. Per se, for education, for learning, they never hesitate. So that is very important for the child, that to create the love for education. Yes, I want to learn. They look forward to it. So I think this is such an important aspect of learning.
That's such a wonderful point. It seems more natural than
Yeah.
others goes down upon them.
Yeah, that's true.
And ma'am, what advice would you like? These are really difficult, trying times for parents. What advice would you have for parents during this trying times?
See, I would suggest for parents with early childhood, I would suggest that give them a beautiful rhythm at home. Whatever is more practical for your family. It may be the child gets up at a particular time, but you see that every day they get up at a particular time. They do their chores of the day in the similar pattern every day. I'm not asking them to fix on the time, but I would say give them a rhythm, give them an activity probably every day at 11 o'clock or in the afternoon at 3 o'clock when the parents are more relaxed, they have finished their family work. You can give them an activity at that time. I also suggest that please involve the children in their family work. Like if the mother is cooking, you can give a little bit of, just make the child sit next to you, and he also helps you in cooking, in peeling the potatoes and cutting the tomatoes. Or if you're sweeping and mopping, the child can also be given one room that, okay, you can do the sweep. And these activities are physical activities, which are going to help the child in the physical growth. Also, keep an hour or so for the child completely, where you can just sit and talk to the child, where you can share some stories. I mean, we have never had this kind of time ever before, where we have been free from the outside world, and where we can actually sit and share things with the children, because we are all running, we are working, so our life is so exhausting. But this is the right time when we can have family meals together, where we can share a lot of things with the children and give them a particular rhythm. It may be suitable absolutely to the family, in your family, but that rhythm should be maintained for the children for the coming months, at least till they go to school. So if you want them to do a drawing activity or a painting activity, give them a particular time, that every day in the afternoon at 3, while I'm resting for half an hour, you can do your activity. Or, give them your dupattas to play with, like we have in school, we have indoor play. Give them your dupattas to play with. Give them the pots and pans from the kitchen to play with. While they're having a bath, give them 15-20 minutes, give them a napkin to wash. And that is actually, they're not going to wash it clean, but that is water therapy for them, because they love to sit in water. So you can give them this kind of 15-20 minutes, that while you're having a bath, just wash this napkin for me. So they just play with water, and water is an element which they need to indulge in. We can do some gardening activities with them, where they connect to the earth. So all these elements that we have, the children have to connect to these elements. So making the best use of the time when the children are at home, we are actually indulging them with the elements. We are indulging them with the home activities. When you're cooking, the child is cooking because they are learning out of imitation. When you're cleaning, they're also cleaning. And they're washing, and they're doing all the beautiful activities at home. At the same time, you have dinner together, you share a story before they go to sleep, have some music time together. this is already beautiful to give the child nice, beautiful confidence within themselves that I have my family with me. And I particularly advise to keep them out of these news that is happening, blaring in all the houses, on the television. These so-called negative news that is spreading of the fear of corona. I don't think the children should be watching that, because we need to give confidence to them that it is not so bad, because this fear will be detrimental to the health of the child as they grow up. So I strongly suggest that the children should not have the fear. It's just a kind of fever. It's just a kind of viral fever which we are all going through. So, but it is slightly different. There are some stories which I have shared with our kindergarten teachers, which show that sometimes it's always nice to be at home, and then when you come back into the river, and the river is clean again and it's beautiful because it had gone dirty, and so our parents said, just be at home for a while till the river cleans up again. So these kind of therapeutic stories, we can bring to the parents, which they can share, or our teachers can share with the children on audio, so that the children listen and they realize, they find these beautiful images where sitting at home is not unusual. It's just sitting at home so that the air cleans, so that the water cleans, and when the air and water is clean again and it is beautiful and the sunlight is bright again, we will be going back to school soon. So these kind of images we can bring to the children instead of creating this fear that do not touch this and do not go out and cover your mouth. It's not for children. It's for us to take care of. So I feel we have to be a little more warm towards them.
Children at this age, they're always looking at imitating. They're always imitating. And so you work with teachers to on the internal part of the teachers, so they are worthy of emulation and imitation. Like, what should the children be careful about? What should the parents of the children be careful about? Because children are always looking up to them and trying to imitate them. So what are the things that they should not be doing which have negative effect on the children?
Yes. So for the teachers, we do a lot of work on their internal self. So they work a lot on their internal self. So when they come to school, they actually leave their family problems behind the gate of the school. They come inside with a happy mind. They leave all their problems, their family issues, and they don't come in front of the children with any of their issues. Whereas at home, the parents are finding it difficult because they are all together. But I would suggest the parents should keep their personal disagreements behind the doors of their room. It should not come in front of the children. The children should not see that the adults disagree with each other on any issues or being very loud, because the child learns to speak just as their parents speak. So when we are very rude to each other, or when we are very loud to each other, the child is going to learn that, and he's going to accept that that's the natural way of talking. That's the natural way. Like my dad gets angry with my mother, so I also get angry with my mother. Or sometimes we're just too upset about a lot of issues around in our surroundings. But being very conscious that the child picks up every word, every accent, every mannerism. Even sometimes you see a child is walking like the father or the mother. So it's there in his body language also. So imagine about the language he's learning, because he's learning the language. He's learning how to speak. He's learning how to behave. So he's absorbing like a sponge from the surroundings. So whatever he's going to see in the family, at home, the disagreement between the adults, the grandparents and the parents, the disagreement between the parents amongst themselves, they are going to absorb that. They are going to think that that's natural and that can be done. But we do not want the children, and that can also sometimes create a fear in their mind. Some children are very sensitive. They can have the fear that why are the adults so rude to each other? Why are they so loud to each other? And sometimes they may think that this is the natural way of speaking. And sometimes they may think that it's okay to do that. And so when they go out of the house, they speak in that same tone. They are very loud, they are very rude, and that's not what we want our children to be. So we have to keep in mind the ideal kind. That's why I said the Waldorf kindergarten teachers are role models, because they are trained to be happy. They're trained to build on their inner self, to meditate at night every day, to look at the positive. Even if the child is upset, he's fighting, he's screaming, the teachers don't lose their cool. They just catch the child, put them on their lap, they speak to the child and just calm him down in such a way that he is able to express what he's troubling. And even if he can't express, some children can't, they don't have vocabulary, but they feel so confident in the arms of the child, of the teacher. They feel comfortable, and gradually they know that they can confide in the teacher. So another 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, they come and express to the teacher that, okay, this is what was troubling me, this is what is happening to me. And you know actually how the child needs this healthy adult environment around him. So that's why, you know, we work on the inner self of the teachers. We train them to be calm. We tell them that the child does not need a hassled parents or adults around them. They need a very, very calm, fearless environment. So the fear of this virus should never be brought to the children. So I strictly feel that.
Apeksha, now I have a question. Like one pattern that I'm seeing with the millennial parents is like, somehow everyone feels that their kids, they should learn a lot of things right from
Yeah.
age 3, and they should learn very fast. And so they send the kids not only to the school, but after the school, there are different tuitions. I mean, at this age, at the age of 3 and 4,
Oh,
and I guess they knowingly, unknowingly, probably they end up putting too much pressure on the child. So could you just talk about that, like, because as parents, probably we are trying to do good to our child, but
yeah.
unknowingly, maybe in the long run, it is hurting the child.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Could you just speak a bit about that?
sure. So I feel, as I just started with, that it is the 3-year-olds, the children between birth to 7 are actually physically growing children. So right now, their organs are building, their limbs are building, their brain is building, their heart is, their emotions are being worked upon. By creating all these pressures, all we are doing is we are weakening everything. The brain, which is actually physically developing, when you put any kind of pressure on that child of reading, writing, learning various things, all we are doing is we are pressurizing the brain, and the brain is not now able to grow healthy, but he is going to adapt the skills without. So I can give you an example. When a small tiny bud, if you're going to put lot of manure and lot of water on that very small tiny bud, the plant is not going to grow healthy, the plant is going to die. It's just because we have fed too much uh, water and manure to the plant. Our little ones are very, very delicate plants. They only need enough care, enough water, enough manure. If you're going to overfeed them with information, with skills, all they are going to do is they are going to shrink. They are not going to become healthy. They are not going to blossom. They are not going to look forward to learning. And that's not what we want in future. When they grow up, we want them to love education. The world of education is education for health. And I think we all, parents and adults, want the children to be healthy beings when they grow. Because if a child is not healthy between birth to 7, he's always going to be a sick child as they grow. And anyway, learning is going to be difficult for them. It's going to be very difficult to take the pressure of the society, because we can see a lot of society is giving a lot of pressure to the children these days. They are competing with too many things. To make them reach that level where they can compete with the world that is growing nowadays, the first and foremost thing is physical health of the child. If we can concentrate completely on the early years health of the child, the living conditions, just make the child a healthy being, just make the child a happy child, where he is just looking forward to living. The Steiner says the child between birth to 7 should say the world is good. I want to live in here. I want to be here. But by putting a lot of educational pressure, by putting pressure of reading and writing and learning and swimming, and he doesn't need that. All he needs is the warmth of the adults. He needs to just, he's actually adapting to the environment. He wants to see the environment. He wants to see the plants. He wants to see the beautiful colors, the sounds. So if we could give him the most healthiest environment in the growing years, in the physically growing years, till the fall of milk teeth. When the milk teeth fall, that's an indication that now I'm physically ready. So until the milk teeth fall, if we could give him the most healthiest environment where he loves to live, where he loves the environment, where he enjoys the surroundings. And if we could give him that kind of environment, the child is going to look forward to learning. And that itself is going to enhance his skills. And then at that point of time, when you send them for various activities or make them learn, they're actually very, very receptive to these things. They pick up things very quickly. They don't take that as learning or pressure. Like in our school, when a grade 1 or a 2 or 3 child also goes home and the parent asks, so aaj kya padhai kiya? And they have to think, nahi, kuch nahi, bahut maza aaya aaj school mein. Padhai to kuch nahi hua, wo pata nahi teacher ne padhaya. So, but if you look at their books, they're actually learning a lot. They're learning letters, numbers, all the maths processes. They're learning measurements in grade 3. They're learning a lot. But it is so beautifully brought to them, and they're so looking forward that it doesn't feel as if they're going under any kind of educational pressure. They're just enjoying it. So I feel the most important thing for the children between birth to 7 is, or 3 to 7 for that matter, is create the love for the environment. Take away all the fears. That there is no fear. The adults are around you and everything is beautiful. Everything is calm. Everything is nice. Whatever you do is most welcome. They may be upset. They may be angry. All you have to do is just hold the child, sit with them. Just give them an opportunity to speak up. If they don't, wait. They will speak back to you after 2 days or 3 days when they feel confident of the adult around them, that yes, this adult is ready to listen to me. Most of the children who go to these conventional schools where they're doing a lot of reading and writing are the children who are not expressing their inner feelings. They are not able to tell the adults that I'm feeling too pressurized. I'm feeling too suffocated with the kind of environment you're giving me. And gradually that becomes the attitude of the child to hold their feelings within them. So even when they're grown up and when they're going through a lot of emotional difficulties with their relationships, with the college environment, with the bullying that the college, they are not able to express to their adults because they feel the adults will not listen, they will not understand me. They actually tell the parents, "Aapko nahi samjhega," because they have always experienced that the adult has only put pressure on me, but they have never given me an opportunity to think or understand. So we don't want such youngsters. We want children. We want to have a beautiful bond with the children. We want them to open up, to express what they're feeling, and give them that kind of healthy environment. So I feel between 3 and 7, we should give them just an open environment where they're able to experience the environment, they're able to play, they're able to physically grow healthy with the diet. If we could give them with happy people around them, no fears of anything, then when the building is strong, then it can express itself beautifully.
So just to build on that, Apeksha ma'am, so I will just tell you, as a parent, what they go through, because there are very few schools in their neighborhood, which are like Waldorf kind.
Yeah.
So they see every other child is learning very fast a few things, and my child is still lagging behind, and then that insecurity just takes over. That will my child be able to cope up because everyone else is going so fast, and and the Waldorf school, it is going at a slower pace. So that insecurity kicks in, and they feel that in the longer run maybe my child will be left behind compared to the other kids in the neighborhood, or compared to the other compared to the kids of my relatives. So how do parents deal with this kind of insecurity?
See, first of all, the most important thing is to be convinced, what do I want? Do I want a happy child, or am I competing with the other children? Everybody, all the children are going through pressure. Believe me, I am in a school education system since last 20 years, and I have experienced lot of children. The education system is only creating pressure on the children. Now, it is my priority to decide what do I want for my child, because our children, even after starting reading and writing from grade 1, are doing beautifully, or as comparatively beautifully to the other children who are starting reading and writing at 3. I'm talking about my own 2 children. I have a daughter and a son who are in their 20s, and they started their reading and writing only when they were in grade 1, when they were 6-year-old. And I'm telling you, there is no looking back. We have gone through IGCSE, O levels, and they got beautiful grades in that. It's not because they started when they were 6 years old. They started learning letters and numbers, but there was nothing lacking in them. Rather, I realized that they were so excited when my daughter was in grade 8 and she would have exams in school. She used to be so excited that, oh, come on, I'm going to study today because I've got exam. And I used to say, are you really happy about that? And she used to say, yes, yes, nobody's going to disturb me. So she was so excited that she was going to enter into exams now. Now, imagine the pleasure of giving an exam. I mean, you would rarely hear that. It was a pleasure that I'm going to give exams, and I'm not, she wasn't asking for help from anybody. I rather, being a parent, kept telling that, can I help you with maths, and can I help you with something? No, I can manage. Please don't disturb me. I'm studying for exam. So the excitement that I saw on her face just to give an exam, I felt I was on the right path. That was already convincing for me that the child was learning. And believe me, she's a graduate. She's a double graduate. She's doing extremely well in the industry today. So I'm comparing the child who has been in a Waldorf kindergarten, right from kindergarten, gone through class 10 in Waldorf education. And she has done as well as my neighbor's daughter, who was also in Divine Child, or in another conventional school, who always was hassled with her exams. Both of them studied in the same standards. They were in the parallel standards. But I would see the difference between the two of them, how one was always hassled of education, the other was just enjoying her studies. So finally, I, as a parent, has to decide, what am I looking for? What do I want from my child? To be a happy being, to be a healthy child, to love education. Because, this love for education has brought her to a point, whatever she does with a lot of passion. She has this great passion. I want to be in the fashion industry. And she has her own cloth brand. She's only 25. And she has started a business of her own. And she's just doing it out of passion. There is no pressure that she has to do it, but she loves it. Now, we have always worked towards creating that love for whatever you do, without any fear of failure. And because she has no fear of failure, that confidence within these children, they make them happy beings. They do everything out of passion. They do everything out of the love for what they're doing. If they're doing a business, they're doing out of the love for it, but not because I have to earn money to get my family going, which of course, finally the money will come. When you're doing business, the money is going to come. But if you're going to do because of the love or the passion for it, I think that's the final aim. So as parents, we all need to decide, what do I want for my child? The love for what they're doing, or the pressure? With pressure I study, with pressure I give my exams. And I have got parents, young parents, coming with 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds for admission. And if you ask them, this is, don't ask teacher, I'm an engineer, but I want to do music. I'm a music teacher. So, but you did engineering, how come you're a music teacher? That I did because my mother wanted me to do. Or that I did because my father is an engineer and he forced me to be an engineer. And finally, that engineer is actually teaching music, or he's a musician in the industry. He's a singer. So what did he do with being an engineer? We actually lost a seat from a person who actually wanted to be an engineer. So we do not want to create adults who are doing or educating out of pressure, having a beautiful certificate in their hand, and that is dumped into into their cupboard, and they are musicians in the industry. I mean, I don't see this making any sense. So I would prefer that the children should do everything out of the love for education, out of the love for and the passion for doing things, and become successful. That's what I think.
That's a great insight, ma'am. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome.